Good evening, Virgo. Okay, tomorrow isn't just another day. It's the beginning of a completely different chapter in your life. One where the struggle you've been living in starts to ease, where the pressure you've been under starts to lift. And I'm not talking about some distant future change. I'm talking about a shift that begins literally tomorrow. You're going to wake up and something will be different. Maybe not obviously, maybe not dramatically, but the trajectory changes, the momentum shifts, the energy around you reorganizes itself. Let me describe what's happening. You may have been waiting for your breakthrough for so long that you've stopped looking for it, stopped expecting it, stopped believing it's actually coming. Some people experience this as resignation. They're still showing up, still doing the work, but they've stopped hoping it'll pay off. They're just going through the motions. It might feel like you've been pushing a boulder uphill forever, making progress so slowly it doesn't even feel like progress, wondering if you're delusional for thinking anything's going to change. But here's what's about to happen. The hill crests, and what's been exhausting struggle becomes effortless momentum. Let's pause here. This reflection invites you to consider, how long have you been waiting for things to finally shift in your favor? Maybe it's been years. Maybe it's been your whole life. Maybe you've been in survival mode so long you can't remember what thriving feels like. You may have convinced yourself that some people just get lucky and you're not one of them, that success happens to others but not to you, that you're destined to work twice as hard for half the results. It's possible that story is about to be completely rewritten. Not because the universe suddenly decided to favor you, but because the foundation you've been building is finally solid enough to support something bigger. Some people think success is random, that it happens to people who are in the right place at the right time, that it's about luck or connections or advantages. But most success is the result of unglamorous work nobody sees, daily choices that don't feel significant, consistency when results aren't visible, building when there's no immediate payoff. You may have been doing that work, showing up when it would have been easier to quit, making smart choices when they didn't feel rewarding, investing in yourself when you couldn't see the return yet. And tomorrow the return starts becoming visible. It can feel too good to trust, like you're setting yourself up for disappointment by believing change is actually coming. This reflection invites you to consider, what if you stopped protecting yourself from hope and just let yourself believe something good is finally happening? There's something specific about what rich means here. It's possible rich doesn't mean millions in your bank account tomorrow morning. It means the beginning of financial ease, the start of abundance where there's been scarcity, the shift from barely surviving to actually having options. Rich might mean an unexpected payment, a raise, an opportunity that increases your income, a door opening to something more lucrative than what you've been doing. Or rich means richness in other areas, relationships improving, health getting better, mental clarity increasing, opportunities appearing that have nothing to do with money but everything to do with quality of life. Some people only see wealth as financial, but you can be rich in time, rich in peace, rich in connections, rich in experiences, rich in freedom. You may be about to experience richness in multiple areas simultaneously. Like everything that's been stuck suddenly starts flowing. Like all the areas where you've been blocked open at once. And that simultaneous opening, that's what's going to feel like your life changing forever. Not one thing improving, everything improving. It can feel overwhelming when multiple blessings arrive at once, like you don't know which one to focus on, like you're being given so much you're afraid you'll mess it up. But you won't. You're more capable than you realize. You've been operating on limited resources so long that having abundance will actually make things easier, not harder. This reflection invites you to consider if your life suddenly got easier in multiple ways. Would you trust it or wait for it to fall apart? Let me talk about what might trigger this shift starting tomorrow. It's possible it's a conversation, an email, a phone call, a message, something that arrives tomorrow that opens a door you didn't even know existed. Or it's internal. You wake up with different energy, different clarity, different resolve. Something inside you clicks and you move differently through your day. Maybe it's an opportunity you've been waiting for finally materializing, a decision being made in your favor, a yes arriving where you expected a no. Some people experience breakthrough through unexpected channels, not the path they were watching, not the plan they were executing, but something adjacent that suddenly becomes the main thing. You may need to stay alert tomorrow. Pay attention to what shows up. Don't dismiss small things as insignificant. Sometimes massive change starts with a tiny opening, because tomorrow might not feel dramatically different when you wake up, but by the time you go to bed, you'll realize something fundamental shifted. It can feel anticlimactic at first, like you were expecting fireworks and you got a quiet conversation, like you were expecting obvious and you got subtle. But subtle shifts create sustainable change. Dramatic explosions burn out. Quiet foundations last. This reflection invites you to consider, are you paying attention to small openings or only looking for obvious miracles? There's something about your readiness that's critical here. It's possible you're receiving this now because you're finally ready to handle it without sabotaging it. You've developed discipline, you've learned lessons, you've built capacity you didn't have before. You might have wanted this years ago, and if you'd gotten it then, you would have wasted it. You weren't mature enough, wise enough, grounded enough to sustain it. But you're different now. You've been through things that forced you to grow, that built character, that taught you how to value what you have instead of taking it for granted. Some people resent that they had to struggle to become ready. They want blessings without preparation, success without the work that creates capacity for success. You may have felt that way, frustrated that you couldn't skip the hard parts, angry that others seem to get what you want without suffering for it. But their path isn't yours. And the preparation you've done is what's going to allow you to keep what's coming instead of losing it immediately. It can feel unfair that readiness requires struggle, but struggle builds strength, and strength is what allows you to carry weight without collapsing. This reflection invites you to consider, what did your struggle teach you that's going to help you handle success? Let me talk about what you need to do starting tomorrow. It's possible you need to say yes to things that scare you, opportunities that feel too big, situations that make you question if you're qualified. Because growth requires you to stretch beyond your current capacity, to act before you feel ready, to believe you can figure it out even when you don't have all the answers. You need to stop playing small, stop accepting less than your worth, stop saying no to opportunities because you don't think you deserve them. Some people stay stuck because they reject the very things that would elevate them. They turn down opportunities out of fear. They stay comfortable instead of risking discomfort for growth. You may have done this before, played it safe, stayed where you were known, avoided situations where you might fail. But tomorrow, when opportunity shows up, you need to say yes, even if you're terrified, even if you don't feel ready, even if you can't see the whole path. It can feel reckless to say yes to things you're not sure you can handle, like you should wait until you're more prepared. But you'll never feel fully prepared. Readiness comes through doing, not through waiting to feel ready. This reflection invites you to consider, what opportunity have you been avoiding that might show up tomorrow requiring a yes? There's something about belief that determines how this unfolds. It's possible the shift starting tomorrow is as much about your internal state as your external circumstances. You're going to start believing differently, moving differently, seeing yourself differently. And that internal shift creates external change, because how you see yourself determines what opportunities you notice, what risks you take, what you believe you're capable of. You've been seeing yourself through the lens of scarcity, as someone who struggles, who works hard for little return, who doesn't get the breaks other people get. Some people stay trapped in that identity even when circumstances change. They can't receive abundance because they still see themselves as someone who doesn't have it. You may need to consciously shift that identity starting tomorrow. Start seeing yourself as someone who succeeds, who receives, who gets blessed, who has resources. Because your identity shapes your reality. If you see yourself as poor, you'll make poor choices. If you see yourself as rich in potential, you'll make choices that actualize that potential. It can feel fake to claim an identity you haven't lived yet, like you're lying to yourself, like you're being delusional. But you're not claiming to be something you're not. You're growing into something you're becoming. And becoming requires believing before seeing. This reflection invites you to consider, who do you need to become internally to match the external change that's coming? You remain in complete control of what you do with what arrives tomorrow. You can seize it, ignore it, sabotage it, maximize it. The power is yours. It always has been. You may notice reading this has brought up hope, maybe skepticism, maybe the desperate wish that this is real and not just motivational talk. Whatever it is, honor it, take what resonates, softly release the rest, trust yourself. Before we close, I want to ask you something. If your life actually changed starting tomorrow, what's the first thing you'd do differently? Drop it in the comments. And what do you need to release tonight to be ready for what arrives tomorrow? Starting from tomorrow, your life is going to change forever and you're going to be rich. Not because I can see the future, but because you've been building toward this. Because the work you've done is about to compound into visible results. Rich in money, rich in opportunity, rich in options, rich in whatever you've been lacking. Not someday, tomorrow. Trust yourself with this. Trust that you're ready. Trust that you can handle what's coming. Trust that change starting tomorrow is possible, even if change starting yesterday seemed impossible. I'll see you in the next one. And listen, tomorrow isn't just another day. It's the day everything starts shifting. Pay attention. Stay alert. Say yes. Your life is changing, starting now.